Ano man? Ay, kaya, unta nga sa dog. Kasi,
Okay. Para kulumang.
no, ngisho William we Ivory.
Oh yeah. Oh, with Ivory. Yes. Yes.
So someone who was born in Zambia, Zimbabwean extraction, South African, also partly my grandmother's from KwaZulu-Natal. So I feel the region, and I just wonder why aren't we getting it right? It's going to be Africa Day this week,
Yes.
and I still don't feel like our continent is united. Why is that?
Well, number one, when you look at the end of colonization in Africa, there were three mistakes made. Number one, a lot of those who led the independence movements were either assassinated or incarcerated. So the deals that were made in the 11th hour of the end of colonization were not made with the revolutionaries. It was made with the hand-picked puppets who replaced those revolutionaries after assassination and incarceration. So that's number one. Number two, the other issue that we have is that Africa itself did not control the decolonization process economically and politically. The former colonizer still had a hand in the way in which the economy would function after the fall of colonization. And number three, many of your African leaders were trained by the Westerners. They were educated in the West. So they have a value system that is very much in alignment with European capitalism. We as African people have become more materialistic, almost more so than the white man. We have lost our spirituality. We have hearkened after this pursuit of material consumption, which has eroded our foundation and our culture as a people. And so I think that in order for Africa to get back on track and head in the direction that she needs to go into, we have to divorce ourselves from European capitalism, and we have to crush neocolonialism once and for all. Giving African people a flag and giving them an anthem while white people still control all the resources is nothing but hypocrisy.
What do we do? Because the systems are there. We're going to have elections, and you've already described the problems with democracy, the way that it's constructed. How do we fix it?
One of the fathers of the Rothschild family that created the international banking cartel, he was once quoted, and he said, "Give me control of a people's money. I care not who makes the laws." The people who control the resources control the entire political structure. Democracy is a fraud. If voting could change anything, voting would be illegal. The only way the people are going to be able to transform the democracy the way in which it is they're going to have to divest from the political structure as it is, organize themselves, come back to the political structure and say, now we are voting as one block. Whether we're Zulu or Xhosa or Swazi, we're going to vote as one South African people, and we're not casting our vote for either party unless you can guarantee us that there will be redistribution of the land, redistribution of the wealth. You have to guarantee us that there will be an overhaul in the criminal justice code, that 65% of South African youth will not be employed, that you won't have 200,000 homeless Black South Africans in their own country, while people who are not Black are living their best life in this country. There has to be systemic and structural overhaul. You know what democracy does? Instead of engaging in systemic and structural overhaul, they just switch out the faces. Same thing they do in America. We're not going to change nothing, but we'll give you a Black president. We're not going to change nothing. We'll give you a Black Supreme Court justice. We're not going to change nothing. We'll give you a Black vice president. Who cares about a change in personality? We need change in policy.
And just before we wrap up, what do you aim to achieve with your visit here to South Africa?
Well, I see myself as an ambassador of Pan-Africanism. I'm probably the most popular Pan-Africanist in the world, definitely one of the top three. And my education guarantees me that I will be heard. Unfortunately, we live in a world dominated by European education. If you don't have the degrees, people don't listen. There's brothers and sisters in South Africa who may have not even graduated high school who are far more intelligent than Dr. Umar Tunde, but they don't have the doctorate. They don't have the master's degrees, so people don't hear them. My mission is real simple, to make African people understand one thing. We can solve our own problems and we can solve them ourselves, but we need solidarity, not just within South Africa, but across the continent, and not just across the continent, across the diaspora. For example, you have so many African countries who are going into debt through loans from the World Bank, International Monetary Fund, the Dutch, the British, the French. Why are you going into debt by borrowing money from these European countries when Africans in America, we're a $2 trillion economy? $2 trillion. Come and borrow from us. Create a bank in your country where we can invest. And now you can take care of all the expenses of your country. And you're doing it by working with your brothers and sisters in the diaspora. Alone, we can do nothing. Together, we can do everything.
My dear beloved brother, we have to have you back.
Yes,
You're
sir.
around for a while because we need another conversation.
I head to Ethiopia tomorrow to keynote their African Liberation Day in Addis Ababa. But I don't leave. Well, no, I leave tonight. Look at my memory. I fly out tonight to Ethiopia. But I do plan to come on back.
All right. But we'll get you on the line.
Yes, and you can always call me if you want me to call in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a problem. I can always call in.
I feel like this conversation is
So much more to unpack, right? Yeah, definitely agree with that. Dr. Umar Ipatunde, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Let's go to the news desk now for the latest headlines with John Anitulo.
Great convo. Thank you. Thank you. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. Y'all want to do a photo or? Yeah. All right. Take your time, my brother. Take your time.
1 minute just to get in the.
Oh, did he bring them?